The best kind of horror doesn't just jump scare you. The best horror leaves you contemplating, forcibly pulled into the concocted scenario as if you're the one in danger. Stress rising in your chest, isolated, but sensing another presence, as if it's just as real as the bed you're sitting on. The bed you're now going to pick your legs up from because, oh my gosh, there's literally a creature under there waiting to grab my toes, isn't there? Even after it's done, you're left with a seared image of the picture it paints for you. The implications leaving a mark that will haunt you in your darkest, quietest moments. Not even sleeping acts as an escape. Your dreams corrupted by this outside influence. You discover unknown parts of yourself and how you respond. Whether you're able to address these unearthed fears and grow from them, or if they're left as a haunting force you can only attempt to ignore. In this video, I'll cover multiple Undertale fan games to determine whether any of them can be successfully scary, or even chilling. Will any of these projects capture the level of unease displayed so expertly in Undertale's genocide route, or will they all fall into a similar, unimaginative, and restrictive format? As someone who's very into horror, I doubt any of these will seriously affect me. On the other hand, one of my favorite horror stories is a fanfiction, so I'd love to be proven wrong. Long ago, two races ruled over Earth, humans and monsters. One day, war broke out between the two races. But you already know this story. A human fell in the underground, and without reason, slaughtered everything in its path. By the power of reset, this act was performed not once, not twice, but hundreds of times. Little did the human know, it was being watched from the shadows. On one of the humans' massacres, they encountered a mysterious door. Curious, the human enters to investigate. An enigmatic figure stood in the center of the unveiled room, broken and motionless. Excited with this sudden change, the human attempted striking the figure, but to no avail. Seconds after the strike, the entity faded away, or so the unsatisfied human had thought. Free from its eternal captivity, the figure rushed towards a stand. There, it encountered a peculiar skeleton. Seeing the skeleton as a valuable asset, the figure spoke to him, informing him of what the human is doing, what the human has done in the past, and what the human intends to do. With this newfound knowledge, the skeleton knew what he had to do. He swore that he'd put an end to this cycle of constant death, and that he'd pursue this promise until his last breath.
Oh, hey, you've been busy, huh? As usual. So, I've got a question for you. Do you think even the worst person can change? That everybody can be a good person if they just try? Still silence, like always. I guess it doesn't matter now. Not anymore. Let's just get to the point.
You know the anti-cheating and piracy screens games used to have? Undertale Last Breath is that, but for murdering the entire universe. The fight starts off with Sans' usual monologue before he cuts himself off. What's the point in pretending? Especially with a fight this awesome, holy shit! What this type of fan game lacks in story depth, it makes up for with the raw spectacle. These fights are frankly absurd in difficulty, and if you're not terminally Undertale brained, you do not stand a chance of ever getting past the halfway point. Or maybe I'm just bad. Looking at my last video, that might make sense. While Undertale Last Breath and similar genre games are undeniably epic, they also run the risk of the difficulty becoming more tedious than fun. Not just for entry-level players. I visited everyone's favorite, most unbiased social media website, Reddit, to collect opinions on the subject, and nearly every comment on the subject supports this narrative. Now, art doesn't need to be for everyone, so normally I'd see this as a problem for the genre, not something that individual games within it need to concern themselves with if they're interested in making harsh challenges with all hype moments and no plot. In this case, though, I'd say it's a particular concern, because as you saw with the animations at the beginning, there's a lot that these fan works can offer in terms of story and character moments that's dragged down by these problems. I have two massive worries I believe are partially caused by this difficulty. One, that the other artistic aspects of the fan games can't be fully appreciated when the frustration of the gameplay becomes too much and takes people out of the narrative, heavily restricting what can be done with the games, which railroads them into only one path of possible evolution. This leads into my second concern, which is the loss of meaning resulting from the abuse of spectacle. While it's very cool to see these insane fights, with a mishmash of powerful characters involved, especially in the Bad Time Trio varieties, it quickly runs the gamut from fun to slop. At some point, the genre begins to cannibalize itself, and all of its facets that started out as unique or a breath of fresh air become claustrophobically stale. From here, there would normally be a push to pivot from the usual formula, and experiment with what these fan works can be, causing a new wave of inventive ideas that revitalizes both the passion of the creators involved and the audience consuming their work. This is how many a masterpiece gets made. Unfortunately, in the case of Undertale Last Breath, the foundations are built on, and the games have devolved into, such extreme difficulty that anyone looking to shake up the formula will struggle to make a game that doesn't alienate most of the fandom while boring those most dedicated members who have become desensitized by that same abusive spectacle that caused both the explosion of popularity propelling the genre forward and its greatest issues in the first place. Within the narrative that's been built on this current approach, one where the player always wins in the end, one where every effort is toward this same battle, what emotions do we leave these characters with? Undertale Last Breath acts as a great example for this. As the fight goes on, Sans tiring out, he eventually does something familiar to those who have played the original. He offers mercy. Unfortunately, those familiar with that original Undertale fight know how that mercy goes. After rejecting his gracious offer with a heartless slash, and then another heartless slash, which he barely manages to block, Sans goes hell mode, resulting in his most insane attacks yet. Putting everything in his special attack was simultaneously too much and not enough. Once he passes out, it's easy pickings. Oh, wait, what the fuck? An error has occurred during, please shut off the game and restart. Oh, okay, I mean, I guess oh, wait, what? Oh, that's not good for me. You enter the final stage, where Gaster fully takes over, barely keeping Sans' body together under the strain. The structure of the game itself cracking under the absurdity. Fortunately for you, the player, you were never one to shatter. And that's his job.
Shouldn't hurt this much, considering I've apparently died so many times before. But it does. Before, I'd abandoned any hope that I could stop the human. Losing it just meant another reset. It was still painful, of course, but I'd given up on breaking the cycle a long time ago. Now though, now I have nothing. I've been a puppet before, but never like this. I gave up all my remaining autonomy, and it never mattered. All of my greatest efforts amounted to another thrill for whatever insurmountable force the vessel in front of me fosters. One last breath to be extinguished. Still though, it was nice to believe I had a chance. I'll have to try and savor that feeling. I'll never have another opportunity to preserve it.
Bummer, right? There are heartbreaking emotions to be explored here for sure, but there's only so long that such an inherently isolated narrative can remain compelling. That's why I believe the answer to these issues may lie outside of the current formula for Undertale battle fan games in general, housed within a more story-driven type of game, that instead of using all these characters exclusively for their most overpowered, attention-grabbing traits, focuses more on their personalities and dynamics when brought together, and all the implications that come from such a meta storyline. In a universe where there's always going to be seemingly insurmountable horrors we must face, where it feels no matter how much progress we make, it can be reset at the press of a button, we'll never be able to fully sustain ourselves on pure determination. Instead, we have to find solace in what we can control, namely our relationships, being there for each other. Of course, we'll never give up the fight, but we have to remember that there's life outside of it. Whatever bits of joy and passion we can muster will act as the fuel for our trip toward a kind future, no matter how far off, shaped by our empathy in the face of this struggle. Until then, we have the privilege of living in this present together, and I'd like to see some of these games explore the potential in that message.
Undertale's true pacifist route concludes with Frisk sleeping. It's a beautiful thing, the peace they may now exist within. Their life and death defying journey is over. Everyone is happy. They can finally rest. But you still want to play.
You again. What do you come for this time? We don't need you, not anymore. Look at them, don't they seem happy? Come on. Let that plan hand. So, what are you waiting for? They're happy, and don't you believe me? Could possibly have. What was that? Are you doing this? Make it stop. You don't understand. They're not supposed to wake up. It's not part of the story if they do. No! Quit closing it. No, they're waking up. This can't be happening. I'm begging you, stop, please. I can feel their presence. They know what they're doing. They want you to play a real game.
Having broken through the Jiminy Cricket wannabe text box, you once again take control. And from there, it's smooth sailing. Ow! Ow! Truly, nothing can stop you. A hallway. Interesting. You've seen a few of these before. You decide you'd better check the doors. On second thought, maybe you'll just continue downstairs.
Oh, you came downstairs. So you wanna play too? I am sure you will like my game. It's about a past life. A life that you decided to forget. But I do not. It was hard to find someone that you have not turned to dust. So I had to invite a special guest. Someone that does not even exist. Keep moving to the next room. We are going to have so much fun.
That's awesome! I'm gonna go now! Little did you know, that was your greatest mistake yet. By running through the nearest door, all that you escape is your lack of a title card! You wake up in the middle of another hallway? How do they have so many of those? With no clear objective in mind. After stopping to make a sandwich, you find it. Entry 1 out of 6. Ah, okay, that's what we're doing here. You continue to search for numbers until your screen glitches. Oh, that's what we're doing here. Most of Slendertale consists of stumbling around in a maze-like mansion, occasionally taking a break to stumble around in a maze-like forest. Luckily, your friend Slendergaster is here to keep you company. He's a little bit too touchy. It's easy to tell that a lot of passion was put into this game, the pixel artistry being particularly well done. Unfortunately, the lighting is far too minimal, and most of the struggle comes less from any interesting game mechanics and more from the fact that most of the screen is pitch black. This leaves the gameplay itself ending up being extremely tedious for most of your playthrough, at least in my experience. The narrative is where I feel Slendertale truly shines. As to what that narrative is, well, there are no full answers here. All I can do is give you my interpretation. Once you find all the codes and enter them into the door at the top of the map, you're transported to... I'm sorry, I just don't have it in me to be shocked by hallways anymore. As you follow the path, a new voice whispers to you. If my interpretation is correct, this voice is Gaster, but the only message it passes on is that it's sorry. It cannot save you. As you continue forward, the hallway's distortion amplifies, the game itself seemingly breaking. Gaster was able to save everyone else, though what became of them isn't clear. You are different. Perhaps it only has so much power to exercise and prioritize the monsters. Perhaps Kara let them go, uncaring of their fate, only desiring to keep a tight grip on you. No matter the case, this reality is decaying, with only one real companion to share your fate with. An old friend. As everything falls apart, you hear different characters begging you to bring their loved ones back. Clearly, whatever Gaster has managed to do with them isn't ideal. They aren't complete. Finally, you reach the end of the hallway, and there they are, your tormentor, Kara. They monologue their backstory to you. Their fall, their death, the way it wounded everyone, and how, eventually, they were brought back. A mistake that cost everything they had left. But that doesn't matter anymore. It's time to play a new game. Slendertale is rough. There are some very good ideas behind it, but the execution can come off as extremely cringy. And I don't particularly mind cringe. It's fun. To be cringe is to be free, you know? But in the context of a horror game, cringe absolutely decimates the intended atmosphere, which could have been a highlight here. The gameplay is often more frustrating than fun, consisting of walking through areas repeatedly, your blindness not making for an engaging way to keep things challenging. And story-wise, I enjoy the ideas with Gaster a lot, but the Kara stuff comes off as extremely overplayed. It's important to bring new ideas to the table, even when working off of existing material. Survival horror, and especially the kind that heavily focuses on the stalking monster aspect, thrives on managing limited resources and having a set of rules you can come to understand and use to navigate your escape. When all you have to work with is that the monster is gonna randomly appear and you have to run away, that less so cultivates dread and more often cultivates annoyance. On a metatextual level, these games also work far better when the monsters you're trying to avoid represent specific fears, and can leave you thinking about the way you approach them in real life.
Finally, what we've all been waiting for.
it's time to cover arguably the most iconic Undertale horror fan game of all time, Horrortale. Oh, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Fuck. Are there any other Undertale fan games that scarred me? Well, there's that. No, not. I can't live through that again. What are my other options? Oh, God! My first ever Undertale video was appropriately traumatizing. The experience that's shaken me to my core more than anything that's come before or after. Technically not a fan game, but absolutely horror. I'm of course talking about the Undersnail mod. Many have spoken of a scenario where you're chased by an immortal snail that, once you make contact with, will end your life. They argue over the logistics of this, how the stress may affect your life, and whether it's worth whatever benefit you're given in exchange. But they all seem to miss one vital perspective. That is, of course, the snail. Imagine if your entire life was defined by a singular, pre-chosen purpose. One defined by staggering impossibility. I'm sure you can relate in some form. It's a type of stress that can easily come to define your existence. A baseline that as soon as you dip under or waver on your path toward, brings about panic and despair, not only toward your circumstances, but toward yourself. The plight of the snail encapsulates all of this. It is given a simple mission, one that completely derides any sort of freedom or individuality within its crosshairs. Who knows what will happen to the snail upon completion? Certainly not it, and no one else cares to find out. That's how inconsequential the snail's existence is treated. That's the surface level circumstance analysis I'd made while preparing for my task, speedrunning Undertale as a snail. In a world that's moving so fast, on a platform that values constant engagement above all else, I thought it'd be a nice change of pace to stop and really appreciate the world of Undertale through that smaller lens. I viewed it as a sort of challenge, one where if I could get this video to do well, that would show its validity, and therefore the value of experimenting with a more subtle form of entertainment on the platform. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm the Van Gogh of making videos on Undertale mods where you're a snail, but I loaded into the game, joined by a close friend of mine and fellow felon, a Waz1.
Is the screen share working?
Yeah.
Fucking whoa, whoa, whoa.
I try to look back fondly upon the amusement I felt in this moment. I try to see the sweetness in this flytrap, but now that I know how ominous it truly was. After taking a moment to admire my hot snail bod, we were on our way. Upon entering Flowey's room though, we were surprised to find that I could still move while his text boxes were open. Naturally, I immediately left. Nobody likes to be monologued at by a flower. As we were heading back though, I discovered something else. Not only were we immune to being trapped in conversations with floral edgelords, we transcended reality itself, being able to phase through the invisible confines that usually gave the game structure. At the time, we found this deeply amusing, as you can hear from our youthful, untainted laughter. Now though, I recognize this for the omen that it was. There's only so long you could survive off of the novelty of avoiding the intended features of a game, especially in a game coded using glue and popsicle sticks like Undertale. As the hours passed slowly, it was friendship that maintained our dwindling hope. While we may not have any of the fun fights, or endlessly endearing character moments, or music that doesn't overlap both the tracks and itself if you ever leave and re-enter a room, but at least we were in it together, until he showed up.
Let me go faster. Let me go faster. Let me go faster.
This sucks.
Yeah,
Sucks.
I'm a snail.
You think that'd get old after like a room or two?
Yeah, I'm kind of just speedrunning Undertale as a
It
snail.
got old before he got to Flowey, okay?
No, but listen, speedrunning
It's
Undertale.
peak, he says, as he can't even make it to the snowball by the time it melts.
Speedrunning
Guys,
Undertale.
get
I
this,
did it! I
get
hit it! I
this.
hit it! I did it! I got a speed
Get
on it!
this, guys. It's
Yeah, but you were
Undertale,
tweaking
but
again.
you're a snail.
Yeah, I'm speedrunning Undertale as a
That's
snail.
crazy. Get
This
it,
goes
get it.
hard.
Ready? Like
Yeah.
it's Undertale, but you're a snail, right?
Exactly.
Like that's
And
crazy.
that's funny.
And that's
Exact-
funny.
Listen, exactly. You're seeing the vision, finally. You don't get how
Joey,
hard this
figure it
goes.
out, bro. We gotta play Mario Kart.
No, this is listen, don't come in here and just like ruin my video. This is peak, okay?
What are you talking? Are you recording
It's
this?
recorded.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
peak. This is gonna be the
What are
best
you
video
gonna
of all.
upload?
Undertale,
Undertale,
speedrunning
but it's a
Undertale to Snail.
snail.
What are you
stupid.
gonna upload? It's gonna like what you even with voiceover. It's like okay, so I'm a snail.
Yeah, I'm speedrunning Undertale as a
I
snail.
slowly at like 3 pixels per second walk to the next room.
Yeah, I'm
And then the
speedrunning
next
Undertale
room.
as a snail.
I was a snail.
You get the point. My quote-unquote friend, Alex Oddity, known at the local strip mall as Satan's Little Taint, is what you might call a non-believer. Whereas before we were united in stomping out those little seeds of doubt, he dragged them to the forefront, exposing the cracks. Once he was gone, it only took so long for things to shatter. But as one left to go play Lethal Company, and for the first time since starting the challenge, I was truly alone. I'm honestly not sure how much longer I continued in this dread-filled state, terrified that all of this was a mistake. I had given up so much of my finite lifespan for this one goal that no one else seemed to understand. And what if they were right? Would I look back one day and realize that I had wasted all my potential, everything I could be, on something of no consequence? Would I have energy left to grieve the Lethal Company sessions I missed? From the moment I'd opened my eyes, I'd known this world wasn't made for me, known something was wrong when I couldn't seem to understand all the seemingly ridiculous trivialities that seemed to define the lives of the people around me. If I'm never truly understood, can I ever be truly loved? Will I ever be able to genuinely connect with another person? If I'm never viewed as such, least of all by myself? When times are bad, I've so desperately yearned to fit whatever shape will let me be happy. Let me be accepted as someone that matters, not for some vision of what I possibly could be, not a tool that needs to be sharpened, not a simple mean to a complicated end. I wish that I could love who and what I am, without that anvil hanging over me, waiting to drop when it knows I'll at least be able to withstand the pressure. I wish that I could exist in each moment without grieving what it could possibly be if only I were born in an environment that didn't feel made to hurt me. I wish I could just be a person, but I'm not. I'm a Jill among Jacks. I'm an imposter among crewmates. I'm a snail in a big old Undertale world. And none of this, no matter how much I scream at my defective version of the universe, matters. Because no matter what I do, that's all I'll ever be. Who was I ever kidding when I believed I could have an ending? Mr. Satan Taint was right. I'm just gonna get soft locked. And if that's the case, chuckles depressedly, all that's left to do is quit. That mental breakdown was pretty intense, right? That's the power of what I consider the greatest psychological horror experience of all time, Undersnail. But what if I told you everything you saw here wasn't even intended? That's right, the hours I put into this cursed playthrough weren't even necessary, because months after I posted this video, the creator of the mod commented on it, informing me that if I had just timed pressing Z correctly, I could have moved at a decent pace. The most horrifying part of this all is that this nightmare was entirely self-afflicted. I wouldn't have it any other way though, because the manic episode brought on by this experience caused me to look up and invest in Hawk to a coin before it was ever officially announced, which allowed me to sell all of it right before the pump and dump, which made me a billionaire. If you take away any lesson from this video, let it be that any mental illness is worth being a billionaire, baby.
Honestly, the only downside to this mod is that playing it makes you want to die.
I had a lot of negatives to say about each game and the pitfalls they suffered in execution. My goal with this video isn't to hurt any feelings or be too harsh. If I wanted to be completely honest though, I never could have given a perfect review. But that's okay. For this video, I actively went out of my way to write about games I had a critical angle toward because I'm interested in dissecting the nature of critiquing media, especially on YouTube. A common theme with YouTube is commentary channels being as negative as they can, releasing as much vitriol as they can toward whatever targets will get the most attention. There are a lot of factors causing this, one being a bit more personal in the fact that most of these guys are bigoted loser chuds, and another more steeped in the capitalistic nature of the website, where wind chimes and everything else is a competition, and the easiest, most reliable method of capturing attention and provoking an extreme reaction to get engagement from viewers is outrage. Everyone's other favorite platform, which I embarrassingly have a bit of a toxic situationship with, Twitter, thrives off of the exact same method and unleashes similar effects on its members. These companies purposefully push a feedback loop, knowing that the more invested someone is in a moral quandary, the more time it can wring out of them, the more it can shape and control our perceptions of reality. This is a wide-scale issue that the average person can't do much to stop. That's more in the hands of our beautiful politicians, who all have our best interests in mind and will set regulations on these companies. Because of all this, it makes sense why so many creators default to this strategy. Just because it's understandable doesn't make it any less lazy and pathetic though. Real people pour sizable percentages of their lives into their most cherished craft every day, and when apathetic blowhards view those pieces of craftsmanship as just a product that they can abuse, it not only hurts the medium, but the artist residing within it on a deep personal level that only perpetuates and aggravates itself as our culture is shaped by this vulture-like mentality. Criticism is important, and everyone needs to be allowed to voice their opinion, with protections in place to regulate spaces and stop them from becoming cesspools of bigotry, of course. But when so many people are willing to so easily abandon all empathy for a quicker buck or a more potent slop, that turns reviewing from an art form in and of itself to a growing heap of rancid sludge pumped out exclusively to infect as many victims as it can. The most crucial aspect of art, and the best way to connect with those consuming it, is for those consumers to tangibly feel the passion you, the artists, have for your creations. This current landscape can be terrifying, making it difficult to put yourself out there, especially early on in your artistic journey. But I promise, whether it's a game, movie, video, painting, musical, TV show, song, sculpture, or even a book, the fact that you put the effort into creating anything is amazing, and there will be people who cherish that, recognizing that the act of creation is in and of itself beautiful. You are amazing. With the right mindset, you will create amazing things. I'm excited for everything those featured in this video do next, and I hope you guys check them out too. By the way, this is being posted on my birthday. If you enjoyed the video and want to grant my special birthday wish, I just shook a lot for this so that I could be doing something silly while zooming out, and now I've got like little dead pixels in my eyes. If you want to grant my special birthday wish, let me reiterate that. If you want to grant my special birthday wish, feel free to go down to the description or pinned comment and join my brand new Discord server that I made with a few of my best friends whom I collaborate with a lot. In that server, I'll be announcing videos as they come out, as well as giving out sneak peeks, doing silly polls, and in general having a gay old time. As if I could have any other type of full time. If you can't or aren't interested in doing that, it would also mean the world if you'd subscribe. Seeing that number go up is my main and basically only motivation for making videos. So theoretically, the higher it goes, the more videos I'll post. If we work hard enough, I'm sure that the challenge will become far too much for one little old Mason, and I'll become the first human being to undergo mitosis, making 1 million clones of myself to meet demand. My first subscriber was actually a result of a botched attempt at that. Let's go visit him. Everyone meet